was very closed off with my circle. Like I was like, I don't need any new friends, but that's not true. I think, your circles always evolve, and the idea of just keeping the same people around you, you're never going to grow.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming here, Anna.
Thanks for having me, Eric. It's always an honor.
Thank you. Anna is my favorite and the best magician. Cardistry, that's your focus, yeah?
Yeah, that's it. I was just seeing where you're going with this intro.
Yeah, wait, do you have any cards on you?
I do. Should I grab them?
Shall we?
Let me grab them.
Okay, cool. I feel like this is necessary. See, I'm not just saying it, you're going to be able to see. Although I'm not really sure what you would do on camera.
I could do it.
Maybe like, okay, yeah, let's start. Maybe let's start with a magic trick, yeah?
Okay, let's do a quick trick.
I love, of course you have cards. I feel like you must, based on what everybody says. Also, that's the same design on those paper cups, right?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Ooh.
There you go.
Oh, that is cool. And it is on camera, so very fancy.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to try an actual trick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, here. So that was cardistry, right? Fancy. Just grab one, yeah.
Okay.
Show the camera.
I don't know. I feel like you forced this one on me.
Okay. Do you want to try one that's not forced?
Yeah, I want to try a not forced one.
Okay. Put it back.
Okay, I'm putting it back.
Take the cards.
Yeah?
Take a card from the bottom.
Anyone? Any card?
Or no, do you want to give it a mix? Give it a mix.
Okay, give it a mix. And then pick one from the bottom.
Or no, just keep
I see your eyes tracking my hands in the cards so closely.
Do you know how to do a riffle shuffle?
Yeah, like this?
Yeah.
So just shuffle?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah. All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Take a card from the top.
Okay.
Put it in the middle. Take a card from the bottom. Put it on top. Take a card from the middle. Put it on the bottom. Like,
okay.
Point is like they're mixed up.
It's mixed up. It's mixed up.
Split the deck into two piles.
Okay.
Left or right? My left or your right?
Your left is my right.
Okay, that one?
Yeah.
Do you want that one or this one?
This one.
All right. Take that, hold it against yourself.
Okay.
And then look at the top card, right?
Okay.
Show the camera if you want. Put it in the middle.
Okay.
Mix it up.
With my deck or your deck?
Yeah, put it back in the middle of this one. Yeah. Just mix them all up. There's no way I can know what the card is.
All mixed up.
I just want you to know it's so fair and hands-free, and I didn't do any sleight of hand.
You didn't do anything. All right, I got you.
So you're thinking of one card in your mind that you
yes.
Free choice. I don't want you to think I forced it because you're like, I feel like you made me choose that first.
Okay, it's not forced, all right? Free will. I chose it.
You believe in free will?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
You don't?
So, come on.
What? Really? Here.
I'm gonna go for my instinct right now. There's no way I can know what the card is, right? There's no way that I can know what the card is or what you're thinking. But I'm locked in. I'm on camera. Like they can see.
Everyone sees. Yeah, multiple angles.
So you didn't even know what card you're gonna choose because it was completely random.
I did not. I do believe in free will, though. We're gonna talk about this.
What was the card?
Wait, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
9 of Hearts. What? Woo!
9 of Hearts.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wait, so why don't you believe in free will?
You didn't feel influenced at all.
I didn't feel influenced.
Good.
Wow, that was the most suspicious good that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
You know, actually, as someone who probably does a lot of subliminal nudging, maybe it is harder for you to believe in free will.
Yeah, because I know how to influence people myself. So how would I believe that not every single day we are influenced by things that we don't even recognize because they're so subconscious?
So Anna, actually, that is my definition of free will. I believe we have free will on a subconscious level. Like, hey, I can do what I want, except what I want is often going to be operating on a subconscious level and influenced by all the factors around me in my environment.
But it felt free, and it didn't feel like I was making you do it.
Yes.
Exactly, and that's the point where free will, yes, exists to the extent that you don't feel manipulated.
Well, what I think actually, it's the opposite. It's that regardless of whether I feel it's free or not, at the end of the day, my decisions are coming from me. Now, you might have manipulated them, you might have influenced them, but my subconscious is the one making the decision. Whether my conscious mind feels it's free or forced is actually all irrelevant because it's all operating on the subconscious. Like when we're talking right now, you're not sitting there consciously picking out what you're going to say. Your unconscious is sort of just like, hey, Anna, just go say it. And you just say it, right? So your conscious mind is just a lagging after effect of what your subconscious already decided. And your subconscious is, free to decide what it wants, but it's probably going to be influenced by the environment around it. Mm-hmm. So, I think there is free will, but on a subconscious level. Yeah?
Yeah, I believe that as well.
Okay. All right.
I think you believe whatever you want to believe.
I feel like, given that you're literally a magician, I'm sure you have different perspectives. So we're going to play We're Not Really Strangers. So, Anna, are you familiar with this game?
I am familiar with this game. I have this game at home. It is a really powerful, very intimate game, actually. I'm excited to play with you because we've never played together.
That's true. So for those of you who don't know, it's all about the concept of reciprocity and vulnerability or how you build friendships and relationships, right? You share something about yourself, they share back, then you each feel like you got to learn something. You got to know each other a little bit better. And this game, it goes through 3 different levels of questions, which we're going to go through. Do you remember, Anna, how the game starts?
Level 1, which is like a get to know.
Well, even before that.
Oh, choosing who the...
Yes. Do you remember how that
rock,
works?
Paper, scissors? I don't remember.
It's not rock, paper, scissors.
Coin flip?
Here's a game that even you can't force the outcome on. It's eye contact.
Oh, yes. Okay.
See, now you remember. So we make prolonged eye contact. And
I'm terrible at this.
I'm terrible at it too. And whoever blinks first...
So intimate. Okay,
has to go.
You have to tell me when to start.
What's up?
You have to tell me when to start.
Okay, I'm telling you. I'm walking people through how it works. So whoever blinks first then has to draw the first card. Okay? And again, this is interesting because you, as a professional magician and creator and influencer, you're always in scenarios where you're
in control.
Always. Yeah. I was picking that card and you're like, did you think that was of your free will? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, good. Now here's one where I think you have to give up a little. Yeah? Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go.
I knew I was going to
Wow,
play.
that was fast.
I knew I was already going to give up.
For the record, I have lost this game basically every single time
I just
until
knew
today.
I was fighting it too hard. I was like...
your eyes were just like, can't do this. Gotta close. Gotta split.
I think if I just like let my eyes rest and do it, it would be fine. I was just like...
You felt the pressure of the situation. All right, well,
you got this.
That means you choose the first card, level 1.
What? I thought if I lost...
No, you lost. You choose the card.
I thought if you win, you go first. Or I don't know.
Well... You lost, I won, so I'm asking you to go first, okay?
Finish the sentence by looking at you, I'd think. Just by looking at you, I'd think.
So I need to finish that sentence.
So the question is to you. So you have to go first. Okay.
So just by looking at you, I'd think. Well, I said this earlier, but you're dressed entirely in black today. And if I were meeting for the first time, I felt like it contributes to that air of mystery and mystique, which again goes into you literally do magic for a living. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like when you're walking folks through a set, how you've portrayed yourself, it affects that perception?
Oh, definitely. I definitely love being underestimated.
Yeah.
Because I know that when you meet me for the first time or you see me in a show, you would never expect me to do what I do and or be as good at all.
What do you think most people think when they see you for the first time?
I think they don't think much of me. I think there's like this definitely like underdog vibe of who is she, and like you don't see many people who look like I do doing magic. So there's a natural curiosity, but there's very low, if not no, expectation of me to be good, or no one ever thinks I'm a magician for sure, like as a job. No, like if you meet me, there's no way I look like a magician. So I think people just don't know. Like I think I come across as very like unassuming.
And for you, when you get to show them, what does that feel like?
I feel so empowered because I know the bar is set so low that I can exceed all expectations almost always. And I love that. I love looking like an ordinary girl that can do extraordinary things.
Wow. That's a pretty good, that might just be the title of the video. An ordinary girl who can do extraordinary things. You're nimble not just with cards, but with words, I see. Wordistry.
Oh, I'm so bad at speaking. I am very bad at writing text or responding to people. I'm really bad.
Okay.
But thank you.
Yeah, I believe that. And I'm so curious, right? Like you say, a lot of people look at you, they think, hey, wow, unassuming. She's not able to perform on this level. She can't do this, right? Mm-hmm. What do you feel like people, let's go into the opposite dimension. People have actually known you for a while. They've properly sit and gone to get to know you better. What do you feel like are things they realize about you over time that maybe many wouldn't at first glance?
I think you could agree to this as well, because I think you've known me for enough time to know who I really am versus maybe how I can come across just from a first impression. Is that a common thing that I've gotten from friends is like, I like you so much more than how you are on Instagram.
Oof.
I have heard that.
Oof. So you as a person are far more likable than you on your Instagram profile.
Absolutely. I think it's because it is a character, right? As well as when I'm on stage, I'm an enhanced version of myself.
Enhanced, okay.
Me off camera, me just like alone.
Just vibing.
It's definitely a different person. I'm not going to say different, but I would say slightly more dramatic in how I come across. You can put, like, I swear, when a camera turns on, you just...
Okay, so what do you think your Instagram persona is like relative to, I mean, you
I think it definitely comes across as very, like, outgoing.
Yeah.
And I can be very shy. And I think people wouldn't get that vibe from me, from how it looks like my life is and how I go out a lot and perform in a high level in big stages in front of a lot of people. But I definitely get shy. I do have moments where I like to be alone and just be by myself and recharge. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a saying, I think it's Shakespeare, right? All the world's a stage, all the men and women are merely players, right? And I think it speaks to, I know for myself, I definitely feel when I'm in the presence of others, there's a part of me that like wants to be liked. And I'm scared that I'm not going to, if I'm not social enough. And I think for me, growing up, I attended like 5-6 different schools from like kindergarten to 4th grade. So every year, right? And I'm stepping into a different school. And I think the main goal is don't be a loser.
Really?
And like,
that's what you felt?
Yeah. And so I think I got very good at like, okay, cool. Based on the circumstance, how do I ensure that like I try to fit in? And I think I'm a big believer, everything in life that you're capable of in certain circumstances is a strength, in others it's not. I think in some ways it's really helped me. But in some ways, it's held me back because I find it harder to be like, well, what is me, right? For you, it seems like you have a pretty good sense of yourself when the camera's not on you. Here's how I am, and I'm going to play up these aspects when the camera's on me. But for me, sometimes I'm like, wow, where does it start? Where does it end?
Well, I went to a lot of schools as well growing up, probably like, 6, 7.
Oh, no way. Wait, tell me more. How did that happen?
Just moving around a lot, right? Probably same as you.
Yeah.
Just switching schools. But I didn't feel like, oh, don't be a loser. Yeah. All I could think about, I remember, was like, it made me adapt quickly to my circumstance and make friends quicker because I was like, oh, I'm the new kid. Like, you could easily reinvent yourself every time. And then I was able to learn how to make friends quickly.
What do you feel like was a big young Anna going to all these different schools? Do you remember the moment you're like, oh yeah, like I can do this? I
can like switch schools and not feel that feeling. I don't know. It was just because I think I was so used to doing it every year, every 2 years or so, that it was just so normal to me. And I remember meeting kids that went to kindergarten and then all the way to high school, finished in the same town. And I could not relate to being in one place for that long. But I liked it. I liked knowing that I got perspective of the world and I didn't stay in one place my whole life, and I got to see what different places were like. It gave me depth as a person.
So what about now? You're grown up, as we all are. You are based in Miami, but also 10 other places. Do you still feel, you have friends now, you know a lot more people. Do you still feel when you're reinventing yourself for others or even for yourself? Or do you feel like, nah, I've got this figured out?
No, I never feel like I have it figured out. I'm always wondering like, what am I doing with my life? Where am I going with this? But I think that is kind of maybe where that stems from. That feeling of when I was moving as a child a lot, in my adult life why I have trouble staying in one place for so long, and is why I travel so much. I'm just so used to picking up and going and leaving, and everything is temporary. And there is a nuance to being in a city that, you know, you're not from. You're the new girl. There's something exciting about you, or like everything is more, it doesn't get stale.
Yeah. It's like you've become so accustomed to that level of change and so good at learning how to adapt to it that without it, it's like, whoa, what am I doing?
Yeah. This is all from this question.
Yeah, it's just level one.
Card.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I definitely feel the same. I think, so even when I graduated school, right? Initially, I was in finance, I was in banking, and I switched to consulting, and I switched intern in a couple different startups in VC. Then I went to Facebook, Instagram, and now I'm doing a startup. And you know what actually really helped me realize I really wanted to do a startup, do my own thing, was because I was at Instagram. I was a product manager there. And one day I woke up and I was like, what's next? Like, I've tried so many different things. Now I'm just going to be here. And when I'm going to die, is my epitaph just going to say, here lies Eric, middle manager. Are you like chiseling out?
Yeah, chiseling out.
You're like writing it out. It's like,
on
here lies.
Tombstone.
Thank you. Very, very visual. Here lies Eric, middle manager at Instagram. Like, wow, that's boring. And I felt like, I was like, what's the next change? And so in some ways, what I do now, I am so incredibly stressed. I feel worried. I feel lonely. I don't always know what we're doing is going to work. And there's a part of me that's like, well, I chose this life for myself. There's clearly a part of me I wanted and chose to have that level of turmoil. And so I relate a bit to what you're saying.
The pressure.
I don't know if I like. I don't even know if I like
stress.
it. I think I'm used to it.
Yeah.
And I think I haven't yet learned to live without it. So one thing I know I would like to take vacation sometime soon. I haven't taken any since I've graduated. And I think it's because I'm scared. If I just sit there and give myself that space to just sit and breathe, like I'm going to worry. I'm going to be like, what am I doing in my life? I'm just going to be like, I don't know if I feel good if I'm not doing something.
But I feel like you've built such a strong team around you that you can do that kind of thing and know that the ship won't sink.
See, I believe that, and I'm still scared. What about you? Do you feel like, I mean, it's sort of the question, right? It's like, so is it, Anna, we grow and become more accustomed to a little bit more stability, or you think, no, it's just
I don't know how to have stability. I've never had stability.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know how to
You started this when you were like 18?
Yeah.
Very young.
Being magic and performing, yeah. 18. And what I do is obviously not a very stable job. I mean, I'm making it work and, you know, it's going well, but there's no like clear path. This isn't like a practical job where I'm like, okay, I'm guaranteed this salary every year. I show up 40 hours a week. You know, some months are slower than others, but I'm happy and I'm doing what I love, and I feel the same as you. Is like, you created this company, this business
with my co-founder together.
With your co-founder, yes, Will, and you just like showing up, and I think that's half the battle. It's just like every day you still get up, and you show up for yourself and for others on your team and your employees and other people who believe in this company as well. That's what you're doing it for, and you haven't let anyone down, and you still show up every day.
I think I have let people down, and
Who?
I mean,
I think you're being way too hard on yourself.
No, I think, but I'm also learning it's not due to lack of intention. I realize sometimes I can have the best intentions in the world, but I'm still not able to deliver, and it's just learning to be comfortable with that. Because before, I think it's, if I'm always worried about letting people down and how things will come off, maybe I just won't do anything, because that's the easiest way to make sure. So I'm learning.
But you're not the type of guy who can do nothing. You know, there's some people who really just like are okay with living, like you're a boss, right?
As are you. Both of us traveling, trying.
Recognizing that is like, you're someone who wants to be an entrepreneur.
I want to be something more.
You want to start your own company, not work at someone else's, is what I mean.
That's true.
So there are some people that are very comfortable being in a follower role.
Right.
And you're not that guy, so that's what I mean.
Well, that's part of the reason why we're friends. Neither are you. Do you ever feel tired?
Yeah, I'm exhausted all the time.
No.
It's exhausting traveling. The travel is exhausting, which is so funny. I was just thinking about how this is the life I wanted.
Yeah.
At one point, this is the
back
in the day.
You chose this. You wouldn't be doing it if part of you didn't.
I was
choose
like, I want to be a touring magician.
Wow.
They did not tell me it was gonna be like this. It's like, oh, yeah, you're gonna be all over the world. You're gonna perform on big stages, but you like don't get to see your friends all the time. Yeah. Everything is like kind of like touch and go, and you know, you're never in one place for too long to like build deeper relationships. There's stuff about it that you don't realize, like, and then you're in it. But I'm happier than I was. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. Yeah.
Let's do level 2. Yeah.
Oh, we only do one each.
Yeah, we'll take turns. We'll
we just switched to stage. We just skipped to the whole. Okay, I mean, I think we're past level 1 already.
Yeah, we can do it. We're already on level 2. So this is actually a very similar one. So I'm going to do a different one. It's do you think the image you have of yourself matches the image people see you as? I think we answered that already. Oh, wow. Here's a deep one. Oh, no. And it's okay if you don't want to answer. We can skip to other ones. We just skip this one.
There's a pass card, but we won't use it.
We can pass.
No, what is it?
This is safe space, and you can pass anytime. So here's the question. How do you describe the feeling of being in love in one word?
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe this is the question.
These
aren't the pass cards. They're not pass cards. There's no pass cards.
They don't these say actually these say dig deeper.
These are not pass cards. They're actually to go more in depth with that question. If you want to use a dig deeper, then you're supposed to use them.
I didn't even know that. So do you want to answer? Shall we do a different one?
Can you ask the question again?
How would you describe the feeling of being in love in one word?
So I just want to preface this by saying I do not believe in coincidences.
Wow.
Can I address the camera directly?
Talk about this.
I do not believe in coincidences because as a magician, I just know that there's no such thing.
That's why you don't believe in free will.
Yeah,
you think God is a cosmic magician just forcing your hand.
There's greater things at play.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is because I don't feel like that was just a random card. It was a card that I was meant to get.
Wow, look at you.
So today we will answer this question.
Okay.
Describe the feeling of being in love in one word.
I'll allow a phrase.
A phrase.
I'm generous.
It's definitely hard to encompass love in one word, but I would describe it as euphoric if it was just one word, but also a phrase that would be like it is the best and worst feeling in the world.
Okay. So why? Let's start with the initial one word. Why euphoric?
I think love is so powerful. It's one of the most powerful emotions that we as humans are lucky enough to experience, and not everyone gets to experience. Not every human gets to experience this. So if you ever get to experience a real, true love, you are so blessed. And to me, I've been lucky enough to be in love.
Yeah.
And when you're in it, it is truly the best
highs
feeling.
are high.
Highest of highs, like amazing.
Yeah.
But when it's gone or you lose it or whatever happens, it is the most gut-wrenching, like heartbreak and scary, sad, like feeling to ever lose. Because when you have it, you never want to let it go. It's like so amazing to feel that.
I get that. Yeah, I feel there's studies that have shown that emotional heartbreak actually physiologically stresses you out the same way physical hurt would as well.
Oh yeah, love could hurt you in ways that physical pain can't too.
So euphoric because you're thinking about the highest highs.
Yeah, it's a drug. Love is really addicting. Yeah. Have you been in love?
Yeah, I've been in love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think each of my significant past others. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess if I were to describe one word, I think hard. I think
you had a completely different answer than
I think, and this is what I think you said not everyone gets to experience it. I think love isn't something, I think there's like infatuation where you just feel that and then it's easy.
Oh, yeah.
I think love is something you have to actually work at, right? Because there's so many dimensions of it, right? Are you attracted to each other? Do you get along well as friends? Are you committed to each other? It's really about building something. And I think what makes it really hard is there's the classic question of, hey, like, is this the person I want to build it with, or would it be better with somebody else? At some point in every relationship, right, you have to make that decision. Yeah. It's either this is going to be the one or it's not. And I find trying to figure out that decision, right? Because at some point initially you think it's going to be a yes. And at some point you wake up and you're like, maybe it's a no. I think that's really hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
It's the male perspective is so, I like to look at it all with like rose colored lenses and like, oh, love is the best feeling. And that's also us talking about being in love. But I also think just loving someone, loving your friends, loving your family,
all sorts of love
is a different kind of love.
Yes.
But I was specifically talking about being, it says being in love. It does say being in love.
Well, I think when I say love is hard, that's also in some ways what gives it weight and meaning, right? Like things that come to us easy in life, we don't value, right? Like we find as humans, like we find I care about the things that I work hard for. So when I say love is hard, that doesn't mean it's bad. I think, again, that's what gives it that heft, emotionally speaking, in the first place. Yeah.
I agree.
All right, this time you choose a level 2. See, that wasn't too bad.
I feel like this is okay. Okay.
All right, go for it.
What's been the best compliment a stranger has ever given you?
I remember in college, an English professor, I took her seminar. She told me that I had the soul of an English major. I think that will, Professor Amanda Clayball, if you're watching, thank you.
I would not remember a single one of her professors' names.
I think that I still find it's one of the greatest compliments I ever received because I came into college really not knowing what I wanted to do in life. I was in college because I had internalized all these expectations from those around me that like, hey, life isn't about the journey. Life is about suffering for the sake of reaching an outcome. And that outcome for me for a long time was staying into college. And that actually made it really hard for me when I was in college because I was like, now I'm here. Like, now what? I like suffered all this misery and now I'm like here and nothing's different. Like, okay.
Yeah, but now look at your life though, really.
Well,
But
I
back
think
then,
for me,
I
the
could
biggest
see.
change is realizing you actually have to focus on the journey. You don't know where the outcome's going to be. And I think suffering for the sake of hitting that thing is bad because you might hit the thing and nothing's changed. You have to find the things you enjoy doing on a regular basis, which I think ties to what we're talking about. At the end of the day, there's a part of us that chose the lifestyles we have today, right? And that's just the journey. That's just the process. And I didn't realize this in college. And so even when I was in school, even having gone through this, I worked so hard to get it and I don't know what to do, I still felt a lot of pressure to take courses that had practical use, quote unquote, in the boomer traditional sense. Like, oh, cool, like I'm gonna work in finance. I should study like accounting, right? Or like, let me study like science and medicine because I might be a doctor, right? And for me, in some ways, I've never been that practical of a person. I've always been drawn to, in some ways, the less practical it is, the more I value it because it indicates like you're really doing it for its own worth, right? Because there's no practical value. You must really care if you want to do this. The more fanciful, the more whimsical, or the more meaningful. And so for me, I've always loved like reading and the liberal arts. So my junior year, that's when I really started to break out and be like, I'm gonna take courses of things I actually like. And there's this junior seminar. It's actually meant for English majors. Like you had to write a paper to even get into it. It was about the art of the contemporary book review. And you had to write a book review to even get in, and tons of people applied, like over 100 people applied. And she only took 10 people, that professor. And I really wanted to get in, and I did. And I felt really proud because in that class of the 10, like every single person there was like an English major or like a social studies major, and then like me, like finance try-hard boy, right? And I felt so grateful to be there. It was very different from what I was used to. And I just remember a professor telling me that. And I just felt so honored because I felt so much like,
I mean, the fact that you still remember it and it still resonates.
Yeah,
with you.
very meaningful.
Yeah.
So I felt a lot like, do I get to do this? Like, do I get to sit here and talk about literature? Like, I should be grinding. Like, I should be trying to get a job. And like, here's someone who's like, not only reaffirming my right to be here, but saying like, oh, like you did a good job. And like, you have the soul. I'm like, ah. And
I think people don't realize how much their words impact us. Because she probably doesn't even realize
maybe not
that it stuck with you this long.
What about for you? What's a compliment or something somebody said, Gianna, that's really stayed with you?
I was actually going to answer this question by saying I don't take compliments well.
Okay. Why?
I just don't. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at getting a compliment because
sometimes
it just doesn't. I feel like people say things just to say them, and like they don't they just say that the thing that they think they're supposed to say. Oh, you look great today. Oh,
Well, say somebody says that to you. Say somebody says, "Hey, you look great today," and even they're saying it because they felt like they needed to.
I prefer action. I'm not a big words person.
Yeah, not a words of affirmation.
No, it's
acts of service.
Well, technically, it's my third highest. It goes acts of service.
Acts of service.
Or quality time.
Okay.
Quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, touch gifts.
Okay.
I think that's changed. I think they definitely fluctuate. But when I took the test, that's exactly the order.
For me, I would like all 5 of them.
Of course, yeah.
Generally, the one I'm getting the least of is the one I want the most.
Always the case. We always want what we can't have.
Yeah. So for you hear these compliments, and I mean, here's the thing, Anna. I hear where you're coming from, but like some people probably genuinely mean it.
I think so. I just have trouble hearing it because I think just like childhood stuff where I was always told like you can't think you did a good job. You can't think you're pretty. You can't you have to be super humble.
You don't get to believe that.
No,
because, heaven forbid you get too high an opinion of yourself and you don't work hard.
You have to stay humble and you can't know these things. You can't get too in
and so
head.
you've internalized this I can't let myself feel good about what I'm doing. And if someone says I'm doing it, I can't properly receive that.
No. I'm working on it. I don't even know how I would work on it. I just know that I
what's a compliment that you would want to receive?
I say this maybe because I want to hear it, but I do tell people from the bottom of my heart, I always say this, and when I say it, it is genuine, that I'm like, I'm so proud of you. Because I think there's something about good job, but then there's I'm so proud of you, that it's I recognize how hard you've worked, and I'm proud to know you. I'm proud of your. I don't know. There's something more weight.
You want someone to come and say, "I'm proud of you," and I've seen how hard you've worked across the journey of everything.
I don't know. That's the first one that came into my head.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet.
Thanks.
Well,
do we do just 2?
No,
we go 3.
I think rules are meant to be broken. We can do it as we want. And I think, Anna, you have a lot to feel proud about.
Thanks.
You're here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here interviewing with Eric Way.
That's my name. But you've made it here, despite all, I'm sure, very hard.
Yeah. I'm really happy about that because I forgot what it was, a YouTube video where they were trying to see, I forgot what it was called. It was a test to see how privileged you are. It was a privilege ladder. Yeah. That's what it was.
Okay.
It was they had all these people in a college stand in a straight line, and they said, take a step forward if you went to kindergarten.
Right.
Some people some people step forward. Take a step forward if you had a tutor. Okay, step forward. Take a step forward if you're on financial aid. Step forward. Let's take a step forward if your parents are paying for that. I don't know, and then you just see who's left at the top and how much harder that they had to work to get to the same place that you're all at right now.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point.
And what did you feel when watching this?
For me,
stuck with you, clearly.
Then when you're oh, you're here, I'm I feel so lucky to be where I'm at now because I know that I didn't have the same advantages as some people, yet somehow I'm still here, and I am grateful for everything that has brought me here somehow still.
I love that.
Yeah. I think about that a lot.
Yeah. The story of you.
Yeah, the story of me. The story of Anna.
All right, level 3. I picked
we
one.
made it. We cut straight to level 3, but we were always a level 3.
Oh, always. Okay, this is a wild card. We don't do
wild.
We're not going to do wild cards. They're just these, they're take a selfie together.
Admit something.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we're getting a bunch of wild cards. They want us to be wild, I guess.
Here's a good one. Not a wild card. Still a good question. What do you think our most important similarity is?
That's a good one for us.
Yeah.
What is our most important similarity? I think is both of our continuous effort in self-healing, self-growth, mental health and therapy. We both are very active in continuing our efforts to heal ourselves. And I think that's something that we both have in common that we bonded on very quickly. Yeah. That we both felt like we related to each other somewhat in how we grew up, but also how as adults now that we are choosing to overcome the things that made us who we are.
I feel very heard and understood by that. Yeah. Trying to be better.
I said this. I have so much healing to do.
As do I.
As I walked in here, right before I walked in here, I go, I have so much healing to do, Eric.
It's true. I like literally you're coming up the stairs. I was like, hey, Anna. And you're like, I have a lot of healing to do today.
That's what we opened with. Yeah.
I was like, yep, I do too.
You're like, you and me both.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if I were to answer this question. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that, right? All about, I think when you grow up in a situation, you learn to adapt, right? You learn to, for example, you mentioned that, you heard a lot of folks telling you like, Anna, like you don't get to sell yourself like you did a good job. You got to like stay humble, like stay hungry, right? And like, you're basically as like a kid hearing people be like, no, never feel good about yourself when other people tell you that you did good. And then it's like, well, you like learned a way to adapt around that, right? Which is like, cool. I don't trust what anybody says. And like, I don't want them to say it to me because I can't take that compliment well. That's an adaptive behavior you did because it was helpful for you. And it's like, now like you're aware of it. You're like, I'm aware this is a thing. Like it's a thing. Like, I'm thoughtful. I'm working. And I feel I've gone through a lot of that myself as well. Yeah. Right? It's you recognize what I've been through before. Here's what I've learned to do. Is this something I want to continue doing, or do I want to choose to try and do otherwise?
Yeah, and you can choose to not be that way.
Yes, you can choose
if you feel.
to try and do elsewhere. Okay, your turn.
Is this 3?
Yeah, level 3.
Oh, this is level 3. Wait, is this this is 1? There's one.
There's ones are sorted in.
Which one? This is
right.
3. Okay.
Level 3.
Wild card.
Actually, this is a pretty good one. We don't have to do. Yeah, this is. We don't have to write it down. We can just share it with each other. So this wild card, it's write down one thing you want to let go of this year. Read it out loud and rip it up together. So we don't have to do the writing, but let's take a few moments.
Yeah, let's. What is it? So write down one thing you want to let go of this year. What is one thing I want to let go of this year? I have one that's kind of like meta.
Okay. All right. Let's do. Yeah.
Okay.
What thing we want to let go of?
I have to think about it for a sec, because it's kind of like high level, but I'll get into it.
Yeah. Let's do that, and then we'll go into one thing we want to hold on to. Yeah. So let's start. Yeah. Let's start with one thing you want to let go of. So I'm
you
asking
go first. You though, so you should go first.
But you said you already have something ready.
Okay.
Yeah. You go first.
Want me to go first. I was gonna say I want to let go of my ego.
Oh wow, ego death.
Ego death, big ego death.
Yeah, why's that?
I can recognize that I have one.
I mean, wait, Anna, we all have an ego, right?
I'm a Leo. Like,
I don't follow these astrological signs as much. So
we love ourselves, and I love myself. But
okay, that seems okay. That seems good. Leo energy.
I just noticed that I need to like a lot of things come from ego, not just like I think I'm great, but like getting offended by things. I noticed. I know there's a book called Ego is the Enemy that talks a lot about this and why a lot of things stem from ego. Why do things bother you that maybe aren't that deep? And I have a tendency of making things bigger in my head that really don't need to affect me as much, and that's because my ego is bruised. Or I have an example, but I don't know if I should say it. It's I'm going to use my friend as an example because I have not done this recently.
Sure.
But I have done this.
Okay.
My friend is going through a breakup, and she felt the need to post more, we call them thirst trap photos, in order to gain the attention of her ex. And it's like, I had to sit her down and say, like, you already know you're attractive. You don't need to prove it. Like, why are you going out of your way to post these kinds of photos? Mm-hmm. And she said, because it's crazy to me that he would break up with me when he could be with someone like this, right? Like her.
Sure.
And I was like, that's your ego, because you think that you need to tell him and prove like this is what you're missing. And if he just doesn't want to be with you, he doesn't want to be with you. You don't have to like feel like your ego is bruised because you didn't feel like he found you attractive or something. So that's an example of like an ego. And it's not just like thinking you're like really cocky and stuff. I feel like I've had moments like that my friend had, where I have let my ego kind of get the better of my judgment because I expected an outcome because of who I think you know. Yeah.
So what's prompting you to want to let go of it?
Because I think as soon as I let go of my ego, I think I'll be able to be a better friend, be a better daughter, partner, like in my business. Like I've seen people who like think they're just such a big deal at parties, right?
Right.
That's ego, and like they don't talk to like certain people, when I just think being open to everyone is like really huge. And I think when you are so closed off to meeting new people, it is from your ego thinking like, oh, like you're more important than them or whatever it is.
It's like a desire to want to connect with people more.
Yeah. On a deeper level that's genuine.
Yeah. I remember reading somewhere that if you alternate between feelings of feeling that you're better than other people or feelings that you're worse than other people, it's actually symptoms of the same insecurity.
Yeah, some sort of insecurity for sure.
Around the ego.
Yeah. What about you? What would you let go?
One thing I'd like to let go.
This year. Yeah, we're almost at the end of the year too.
Yeah, gosh, November.
2 more months.
Yeah, very, very soon. And then we'll be in 2023. Absolutely
I'm not ready.
insane.
This year went by very quickly.
What's something that I want to let go?
I bought you so much time to
You did. No, Anna, because I was engaged in listening to your answer. Do you want a guy who's just literally thinking about himself as his own answer when you're talking? No, I was engaged in listening to, hey, it's the honest answer. Yeah. I was thinking about what you were saying. Now I need to think about what I'm going to say.
I wonder what a typical answer is for this question when someone wants to let go of like a person or let go of. That's the only other thing I could think of as well when I was like, oh, what would I let go of this year if I had to answer this question differently?
There's a book I read in high school and middle school called The Things They Carried. And I liked it because it's classic high school literature. It's like metaphorical, right? Because it was about soldiers, I want to say in like the Vietnam War, and like the things they're physically carrying that remind themselves of home, like this memento or this trinket, but also like metaphorically, like the burdens, the memories, right? And so I think if it's like, what's a burden or memory or pattern that I want to let go of? I think for me, I think it's actually in some ways tied to yours. I think taking things personally, right? I think I grew up with such difficulty in actually doing the things that I want to do, right? I always felt like I had to get approval from parents and other people that I felt really bereft of agency, where I'd have to like check what I want to do by other people and they have to say yes in order for me to do it. And so growing older, that's meant that, say I want to do something, I try and get like approval, like even from my co-founder, right? Wow. And sometimes, he'll be like, Eric, like, I don't really think this is a good idea, but you should go for it. That's like a cognitive dissonance where I'm like, wait, what? Like, he's like down to have me do it, but he doesn't agree. Then
like a very passive aggressive answer.
Well, no, it's an honest answer, right? Okay. For him, it's philosophically, he's genuinely like, yeah, I want to do this, but I won't stop you from doing it, right? Yeah. And I think for me, I've grown up in situations where I interpret it in passive aggressive ways. Like, oh, he like means it, but he doesn't mean it. Because if I said it, I would mean it more in a passive aggressive way. But this is what it goes to. He grew up in a different circumstance. He thinks differently. For him, that's very genuine. And I actually think that's really important to be able to express to people, hey, I don't like this, and I'm okay with you doing it. I think you can, in fact, learn to say both. And for me on the receiving side, I've always struggled with that because then I'm like, well, I don't want to do it if they don't actually say yes because they're going to blame me for it later because, I grew up always expecting to be blamed. And so I think what is meant for me is I take things personally in the sense I'm always like, oh gosh, like how will this blow back on me? How do I protect myself from like, if I did this and it goes wrong? And, I want to move more into mentality where like I can do something and it fails.
And not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect on me personally, right? Especially like, as a startup founder, like half the time we make decisions and I don't know how they're going to go. And it's better to make the decision and, have responsibility, but not blaming myself for the consequences than like just sit there and not do anything. There's a parable about a donkey who's like really hungry and he's stuck between two piles of hay and he can't choose between one pile of hay versus the other. And so he just sits in the middle and starves and dies. And I think if I can't give myself the ability to just make decisions and not take the consequences personally, I'll just be that donkey in between two piles of hay and just die.
That's a good one because I feel like we're both working on being more vulnerable.
Right.
And okay if it happens, okay if it doesn't.
Right.
Right.
What's one thing you want to hold on to you've learned this year?
Oh, you flipped the script
on
me. What do I want to hold on to? I want to say friends or certain people in my life. There are certain people in my life I would like to keep for as long as possible. I can't say forever. It's just
everyone comes and goes.
Yeah, I've accepted that this year.
I did too.
Recently, I just discovered like not everyone is meant to be in your life forever, and that's okay. And they could be there for a season, for a reason, or whatever, however it goes.
For an era. And
I would say I would love to keep that. I think I lost myself actually at one point with I was very closed off with my circle. Like I was like, I don't need any new friends, but that's not true. I think, your circles always evolve, and the idea of just keeping the same people around you, you're never going to grow. Yeah.
I think that's a really big, that's like adult level realization. You're like, people come and go, right? We came into this world mostly alone. I mean, obviously had a mom.
It's so sad. I don't like thinking about losing people, and not even because something bad happens, but I want to keep certain people in my life. Maybe it is selfish. Oh, maybe I should let go of being so selfish, that too. But it's the idea that like, I don't see my life without this person.
Yeah.
And the idea that there's a world that we're not.
Well, that's very, very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little selfish, but it comes from a genuinely positive. Like I like you so much.
Selfish is a really strong word of judgment. Why not just hey, you really like this person, you want to keep them around? That's a feeling.
That's a real feeling. Yeah. Do you have any other? What's the last thing is always the letter.
Really? What's this letter?
You know the letter.
Oh, I've been playing this game wrong the whole time.
That's why they give you a notepad. You're supposed to. This is the. I can tell you haven't done it because it's still in the wrapper.
Yeah, like it's completely.
This is the final card.
What does it say? What's the final card?
It says each player write a message to the other, fold and exchange, and open only once you two have parted.
Wow,
This is the final card. This is how the game is supposed to end.
As you can tell by the completely enclosed plastic, we've never done this ever.
You didn't even read the instructions. Like I know that you didn't read this.
Hey Anna, for me, this is meant as a framing device to get to know each other better. We don't have to follow the rules. Why don't we do one more level 3?
Do another level 3.
You choose it. The final level 3.
Yeah, you got a 2 for 1 with this one. This is level 3. I don't know. Let me know if you like this one. In one word, how would you describe our conversation? I guess this conversation that we're having. Do you like that one or you want another one?
And I feel like you don't like this one, so we can do a different one.
Well, I feel like I don't like this one either.
Choose one that you like.
I think we ended on such a good note with that last one.
One more, and you can choose the question.
I'm just me going through the whole. Oh, this is kind of good.
I love how earlier you were like, these cards were placed here for a purpose. I will answer them, and now you're like.
I say a lot of contradictory things. Why do you think we met?
Well, I feel like for you, there's probably an answer involving not coincidence.
Well, I'm asking you the question. You have to answer the question first.
I'm just positing. I'm theorizing on what your answer might be. Why do I think we met?
It's so funny because no, I don't think anyone is in each other's lives by accident, right?
Yeah.
So why do you think we met? And we did get on really well pretty quickly. It is very interesting.
I love how I'm getting that semi-answer from you anyways. So I think
I'm buying you time.
I don't need time. I always have thoughts. I'm just thinking about, okay, so we met actually a few years ago, I want to say 2019 actually,
Yeah,
where
probably.
I was visiting LA and a mutual friend set up a brunch, and we're going to that brunch.
Awesome.
And you were there, and you had just gotten verified on Instagram. Round of applause. You just had hosted your verification party.
So like me to host a verification.
What did you say?
That's so like me to host a verification party.
Hey, it's cool. You were verified. You were recognized. Why not allow yourself to feel good about that, right? And I remember you were there performing. You had like the Rubik's Cube. And I just remember being there and be like, wow, like she seems really cool. And like we didn't even talk. Barely.
Barely.
Yeah, we were just like there. I just feel like, oh, that's like really, really cool.
Like 10, 15 other people.
Yeah. And I like hadn't moved to LA. So I like didn't really know anybody there, right? I was more just, I knew like one or two people there. I was more just like enjoying the vibe and be like, oh, like this is such a different sphere of life, right? I spent a lot of time in finance and consulting. I spent a lot of time in tech. And I think it's different when you're moving into the more creative side of things, e.g. what you're doing, right? And I thought it was really cool. I'm like, wow, like, hey, you've just figured out a way to do what you like and a way to support yourself. And you're getting to have a moment where you recognize that with the verification and like show to other people what you do. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So we didn't actually talk, but I was like, oh, that's like really neat. And I was like, oh, one day I'd love to get to know her better, right? And I was just like, I'm a big believer, you don't force things, right? And eventually good people find good people. So I was like, oh, cool. And then I think the way we
Fast forward.
So how did we actually...
Andre Zick.
That's right. And actually, so how did that whole story work? So one of her very
good mutual
early
friends.
clients, so even before Andre, and this is how the tapestry unravels. So one of her very early clients was Graham Stephan.
Yeah.
And he's actually the one who introduced me to Andre. Him or Jack Selby, I believe, introduced me to Andre.
Yeah.
And the reason I was connected with Graham was because I was in Y Combinator, which is a startup accelerator, and I saw somebody, another financial technology startup in Y Combinator had Graham as an investor. So I reached out to this person in the Y Combinator program to connect me with Graham, who then connected me with Andre, who I went and visited Andre in his Las Vegas setup. He actually wanted to film a video with me, but I was so bad in the recording because I was so not used to speaking with a camera that he didn't end up running it.
You're so eloquently
I'm trying. I've had more practice since then, but he's a super nice guy. Andre, if you're watching, thank you. And he's the one who connected me with you.
Yeah, this would not happen without Andre because like when Andre told me about it, he was just like, oh, it's really cool. It's a card for
yeah.
free. Yeah.
But see, that's how, so I met Anna DeGuzman, through Andre Geek. Andre Geek, I met through Graham Stephan and Jack Selby. Graham Stephan and Jack Selby, I met through a connection at Y Combinator. And Y Combinator, we got into because very early on, I just went to a talk where a partner was there and he had gone to my school and I just kept following up with him afterwards. And so I'm a big believer, every decision you make today in life has ripple effects that you can't see in terms of what will progress to later. And that's why I said before, I don't think you can focus too much on outcomes because they're simply beyond our understanding. You have to focus on process and journey and actions because they will unfold in ways that end up bringing you to the right place.
Now that is beautiful.
Okay.
But you just said how we met. Why do you think we met?
Wow, you're really pushing me on the exact syntax of this question.
Yes.
So, okay, fine. So I think why we met is because it's actually the same answer, Anna, because I've learned that the good way to live life is to just do the things that feel good and right without worrying about outcome. I never could have imagined me going to this event around Y Combinator X years ago would have started a chain of goodness that eventually brought me to you. And so I don't think you can, I don't think the why is because, if you just live life focused on meeting good people and building genuine relationships with them, it will lead you the right way. And I think it's a manifestation of that philosophy, that principle.
Yeah.
So
I think why we met was just like, you're just, to sum it up, I think we were just meant to meet, meant to be in each other's lives, meant to be good friends. And I've always like brought people over here, like told them about Karat. I speak of Karat very highly. And I'm a huge supporter of not just the company, but in you as a person and your growth and as a person, not even as a business owner, just how you're doing on a personal level.
It's very sweet. And I really value that. Obviously there's a business relationship, but I treasure and appreciate the personal relationship too, which are tied together, but they are different and they are separate entities.
And like some people can't manage both, but I feel like we've been able to do that very well.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Yes, thanks.
Oh, so basically, thank you, Andre. That was so much fun.
That was good. Did we win? Is that how we both win, right?
I think we won. Well, the real treasure along the way was friendship, which we've achieved. So
I still can't get over the fact that you have a whole podcast around this game and have played it wrong. You don't even know about the final card.
Well, no. See, to me, the point of games isn't to play the game. They're framing devices meant.
But this is like a really good way to end the pod.
But we're honoring the spirit of.
You didn't even use the dig deeper cards. You didn't even know about the dig deeper cards.
We had dig deep. What are these dig deeper cards?
So like if you ask a question, right? Like, why do you think we met? And like someone goes, oh, because we were just meant to meet.
And you're like, dig deeper.
Yeah, then you can elaborate. But we already dug deeper in every question that we answered. Because like, like this one was like, oh, just by looking at you, I would think, oh, she's a nice person. See, some people answer the questions like that.
Oh, that's boring.
And then you hit them with a dig deeper, and then they can elaborate.
Yeah, you have to have vulnerability.
I think we already like used the dig deeper cards without using them.
What I think is really funny though is you were looking for like a pass card. You're like, is this a pass? And it said dig deeper, and you're like, all right, well.
Is this 1 or 2? 1, 2, and then 1. It's so like us to clean up as we go.
Oh, of course. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for playing.
Thank you for having me. This was like a really fun interview because there was guidance in that there was a structure of a game, but we didn't know what the questions were going to be.
See, the way I see it is, I'm sure people know you from your content, right? You just said the persona on your Instagram is different from the persona as you as a person. In fact, when they get to know you better, they're like, wait, you're different than your Insta persona. I like you more.
Because there's so much, like, I think there's just only so little you can share.
Well, because your Instagram, it's also a bit of work, right? It's a bit of business. You need to convey yourself. It needs
to be very curated. It's
exactly.
I was gonna say professional, but I don't think sometimes.
Well, professional in the sense it needs to be aligned with your brand, and so that's why I like this, because it's really a mechanism to like, well, let's help people see a side of you, Anna, outside of the typical content.
Yeah.
You don't just do magic.
I don't just do magic. I don't just do anything. So I do like that you gave me a platform where I can share my story more and have people get to know me better and hopefully connect with me.
Yeah, more. like and subscribe. Anna DeGuzman on Instagram.
On like and subscribe.
I guess Instagram. You don't subscribe. Like or follow
here.
I guess they like here, put they'll like edit it in. I feel like the Disney Channel. Well, someone's gonna have fun editing this later.
Well, thank you to them. We had a lot to say.
Yeah, this is great.
All right, thank you. Bye.